Yo.
That was like 97 jingles in a row.
Basically. Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Welcome to the Owaze Show here on EBC 104.7. It's Friday.
We're back at it again. Indeed not. Well, you can breathe. It's okay.
We have guests here today, guys. It's not just me and TG.
I saw them holding their breath.
No, I was trying to. No. I wanted to do the.
With
and I just went.
You can't do that.
Hey.
Gotta represent.
That happens a lot to a lot of people.
You'll get it, Mama.
Okay. People are listening, Hadra.
I'm sorry.
You guys, we have guests
guys.
in the building. It's not just me and TG. We have very special guests on today's show.
I will let you guys introduce yourselves, and we'll explain what you do, why you're here later. But who are you?
I'm Nugusu Salamon.
Yes.
I'm
That's a great name, by the way.
Terrific.
King
that's
Solomon.
my father. It's his name, basically.
I'm
you know?
sure. He just added on his name. It
Exactly.
wasn't about you at all.
Exactly.
Like,
It was
it's nothing
never
to do
about
with
me.
me, right?
Yeah. I am a trophy to him.
Yeah.
So I am a videographer, also computer engineer, and other things as well.
She's still laughing.
What? It's true.
Yeah, I mean that's a very short list of the things you do, but
yeah.
cool. Hadra here, everybody. Hadra Ahmed. It's great to be here. Thank you for having us. I am a producer and a freelance journalist.
That is short too.
Yeah, it is like,
Yeah, we'll get into everything. Yes,
yeah.
for sure. Excited to have you guys again. Make sure, guys, to tune in for the full 2 hours. Hopefully, we'll have you guys until 8.
Yeah, we're probably gonna keep you all here a while, but they were here an hour early, and we did not get to talk about work at all.
We just talked about TikTok. And,
so I'm assuming they're
it was
gonna be here a while.
I had so much fun. I was laughing the whole time.
Yeah, keep work at work.
Yeah.
I still can't
Agreed.
stop laughing.
But let's go for track one requested by you guys, actually.
which you requested Congos with the K.
Combos with a K.
And the song was
I don't mind.
I Don't Mind. Where is I Don't Mind? I got it.
Jesus.
It's a great song.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
It's a South African rock band.
I love this already.
Yeah, it's amazing. We love rock music, and I'm a Pan-African, so I try to put those two together, and you get congos. And the beautiful thing about the song is they sample music from Ethiopian artists too.
Ooh.
So you can hear some familiar sounds
Nice.
of Telahun Gassese and the accordion and all of
Yeah, and the scales are like pretty familiar, so
That's
I'm sure
nice.
you're gonna love it.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
this
excited.
is new for me. I'm excited to
It's
hear
a
it.
banger. You're
I'm
gonna
sure
love
you
it.
guys will too. All right, let's get to I Don't Mind. We'll see you guys after the musical break. Don't go anywhere. Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to your new family. It's the Owaze Show with your hosts Fire and TG every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
The best music, entertainment, spicy topics, and so much more.
Owaze, let's spice it up. Welcome back, y'all, to the Owaze Show here on EBC 104.7. We're goofing around basically the entire time.
Back to business, seriously.
Yes.
This is what but welcome back to the show. We do have guests today, in case you're just tuning in. And they introduced themselves a little bit earlier. We have Hadra and Nugusu in the studio.
Yay.
Now, the main reason we were like, we have to get them here. And I feel like you have to throw like the hook, the clickbait immediately. They won an Emmy. That's how you start.
in case people weren't aware.
In case. Me personally, are you one of those people that when you're in the shower, you like pick up the shampoo bottle and you pretend you're giving an acceptance speech? Where you're like, I would like to thank the Academy.
I can't believe you said that on the radio.
I know
they know
other
weird.
weird things, Mama. I don't do
Okay.
that. I act like I'm in a music video, for example.
I
Sometimes,
see.
most of the time when I'm outside, like on a rainy day, or like when the wind is blowing.
But
in my
not
hair, I'm
that
weird
one
that
specifically.
way. But not like this.
I will be in there for an hour plus just being like, To my family.
I
get emotional.
To all of my fans.
Yes,
it's
but
because of you.
I know it's been a little bit since you did win the Emmy, but I refuse to believe that the feeling of it calms down ever.
Does
to be able to
does it,
add,
for example?
No, not really.
You're like, I'll never get over it, ever.
I didn't know how to feel for the first few weeks or a month or something. The moment I found out, I didn't even know how to act. Like, there was nothing inside me, like no excitement, nothing.
Just numb.
And I just texted King Nugusu and said, hey, we won an Emmy. Like,
Just
what?
Casually.
Yeah.
I
what
love
what
it.
do you mean? This is massive. We should is your name on the list? What list? And then it's like hundreds and hundreds of names on the list, because they award everyone, because they celebrate individual achievements, and everyone that's involved in any TV production, their name is included. And so he had to go through all the names and say, hey, your name is on the list, and you're going to get the statuette.
You're right.
I was like, oh, cool, okay.
I was like, I'm gonna have an Emmy.
Yeah,
Sitting in my living room.
It didn't really click in, yeah. It just after a few times.
It would have been helpful if we found out that we are actually nominated, but we didn't.
I didn't even tell you guys.
No.
How did you find out?
So this guy called Jerry, he's the main producer of the show, 2020 at that time, and he basically runs everything, and he did everything, the nomination, and then in the morning, once he found out that we won, like, just a text like, hey Hadra, congratulations, you won an Emmy.
You don't just casually say that to people. People can have high blood pressure.
You have no idea. Like, there are like different Emmys. Like, there's a primetime Emmy and there's like daytime TV Emmy.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That is
one.
true.
He asked me about this. He was like, is it prime time? Is it daytime?
I love
was
how you're like,
what?
differentiate it.
Yeah. What is that? What are those? Like,
That's insane.
insane.
Apparently, she didn't grow up watching the Emmys, so
No.
I had to figure that out.
It's so funny, but more than the Emmys, it sounds like that I'm comparing or anything, but he also said, if it wasn't for you, this production would not have happened. And so thank you.
Wow.
And I was like, that was at the time, that for me meant so much. I was like, oh my god, he said this, look, like it's like he's giving us a recognition for like it's our job, like we're supposed to do this, but someone is saying thank you.
I love it. I'm sure everybody tried to take a picture with your guys' Emmy too. Everybody and their mama.
Oh yes.
Now it has to be kept under lock and key.
No, it's like
It's on a display.
Good.
yeah, but it took a long time to get here. No,
Oh yeah,
Oh, really? How long did it take?
a year.
almost a year.
Get out.
That's
Yeah.
why you hear about us winning the Emmys now. Like that's why
After
we're
news reports said you won the Emmy a year ago.
a year ago.
Exactly.
But then it took, because they have never sent
An Emmy
the
to
statuette in Ethiopia, an Emmy to Ethiopia, and the guy said,
Luke, don't forget to name him. His name is Luke.
yeah, but I didn't know.
Luke
if
the
he
Amy
wanted
guy.
to- like, so that's what we call him, like Luke the Amy guy. Luke the Amy guy was so confused. He's like, I don't know where to start to send it to Ethiopia.
That's a lot.
And yeah, so I had to go through different countries and states, like, and then finally to Canada. And Salahuddin, our friend, he sent it for us through his friend. And the guy, when he came, he's like, Hadra, I promise, I didn't check it in. It was in my carry-on bag. I took care of it. Here it is. I'm so sorry. I'm like, I'm just glad you brought it with you.
Wow.
That's so helpful.
Because we didn't even know when we were going to get it. Because production took a few months, because there were a lot of people that needed to be given the statuette.
Right.
And then from then, we had to find a way to get it to us.
Right.
at some point, Jerry even suggested, you know what? I should come to Ethiopia for a vacation and bring it for you. Because the DHL cost, it was
$2,800
to
ship to Ethiopia.
Wow.
I was like,
bro,
you know, you can. And he was like,
I'll buy it. Buy a ticket and come here.
no, like King was like, you know, you can go to the US and bring it with you.
True.
Yeah, I was like,
call it a vacation, maybe.
Exactly. So essentially,
Goodness.
ABC reached out to you guys to do this project. How did it all begin? How did that happen, that call to say, hey, let's collaborate and work together? How did the whole process start?
Well, it's a fun story actually, because it kind of involves a lot of luck in between. So after the plane crashed, and we were working independently with other media houses, doing other stories as well. I mean, the same story, but other media houses, including Canadian. And she was working for New York Times as well at the time. And they wanted to come and film the 2020 special, and we didn't know, because we never heard of the 2020 special. Apparently it was so big.
It's big.
It was really big. So one of our friends, who's his name is Eliab, and he works with the lawyers for the firm that is actually working with the victim families.
Okay.
And they were doing lots of court and victim family interviews and other things. So they reached out through the law firm and find them like a producer that can help them film here. Initially, their plan was to come and film. So they reached out to us and they're like, no problem. We helped everyone else. We can help you too. No problem. And then, but the visa process was taking too long.
Yeah.
And Jerry is becoming frustrated, and then eventually it's like, you know what, why don't we just film it for you if you want? You don't even have to come here. I'm like, oh, you guys can do that? Yeah. You have cameras and everything? Yeah, we have this, we got this.
I love that
no
you have
problem.
cameras. Right.
yeah, but because they have their
they're
own
standard cameras.
Yeah.
So,
They're like, so you can get your hand on these cameras? Yeah, sure, no problem. And that's how it started.
Wow.
And then the second time, we were supposed to film the first part of it, and then the second part should have been filmed like a year later on the memorial and other ceremonies. And they couldn't come the next time as well because of COVID.
Okay.
But right then COVID hit, and then everything was just upside down.
Yeah.
So it's like, I guess we're gonna have to continue this work then.
Wow.
So, and all of this together, we started doing the interviews ourselves, and then we had to create like a streaming to them to directly stream the interviews while they're happening. So we're filming the interviews and we're streaming directly to them. Yeah. So it was a lot of technology involved. So we did that, and then we filmed some B-rolls also in the streets and the crash sites, and even in Ethiopian Airlines. And after it's done, we packed the footages, and then the delivery part. That was the next hard part. So they said, no, we have our own standards, ABC, and we're going to send you a hard drive.
The Disney. Disney.
ABC is acquired by Disney. So like, we have a Disney standard, and we're going to send you a hard drive to copy the files, and you can send us. Like, yeah, but we can get a hard drive and just send it to you. No. We'll send you two in case something happens.
Oh.
Okay, then send it our way. So the disc came, and it was stuck at customs. And to make matters worse, someone else claimed it.
Oh, wow. So, very easy making this, basically. I'm hearing it.
Straightforward.
It was a breeze.
It's walk in the park, basically.
Wow. I think
we still haven't gotten that.
Oh, God.
So we tried everything to get the hard drive. It didn't work, and even Hadra went to the customs office, and they say like, no, your number is wrong. This is supposed to be your right number. Now go claim it. And then she took him like, no, this number is wrong. Bring it back to the original. And then we just eventually just gave up.
Yeah.
So like, can we just buy the hard drives now? And like, okay, just buy 2 hard drives and then send it to our way. So we sent the package, called it a day, just another job completed.
Wow.
And about a year later, bye-bye shampoo bottle.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Amy.
Hello, Emmy. No, I think even as not new, but sort of entrepreneurs and business owners ourselves, we're learning very quickly. It's super hard to do things in Ethiopia, and then to do things in Ethiopia with international standards is a whole new
So many limitations.
I've lost count of headaches, and I can't even imagine taking on projects with the scale that you guys do. But
You're like, I really want to talk about this.
it's like I have so much to say.
Do we need to talk about it really? It's both ways, really. At least for me, it's both ways, because one, there is opportunity, but then there is, of course, the challenge.
Yeah.
I've only worked for Fortune newspaper locally. In like any work that I have done is probably like only 2-3 places, and that's just including probably like Fortune and then Zoma magazine, if you remember.
Yeah.
That was like I worked as an editor. But then after that, everything that I did was just being a correspondent or a foreign correspondent or a freelancer. And I've worked with multiple international organizations, so you see how they do things. Then you talk, you discuss with them, and then they understand the challenges, and they will find a way to work around your issues. For me, at least, that was the good part of working internationally. If you have someone who understands the challenges that you're going through.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, that was just like this experience is while I was writing. But when it comes to production, that's a completely different arena that you're playing. You need different camera equipment, like cameras, production equipment, crew, and everything. And that requires a whole set of permits and dealing with completely different people. And then you can't even get that kind of material for you to be competitive enough on the international market to bring your own production, that creative work that you're doing. That's mainly because that we don't see Ethiopian content on international festivals or streaming services or even their TV channels, because they have a requirement that they follow, and we don't have that access. And so these challenges, they make things very difficult. But then if you anyway somehow find a way to work around that and just do something, there is like the reward really pushes you to also improve your own work, find a way to do things in a way that makes you happy, makes your clients happy, and also makes your company perform better. Right. Yeah.
Oh, right. Like the interesting thing about like
add some more.
The interesting thing about like learning more about you guys and what you guys do with Nubia Media and Communications. We started our own thing as well with Awazi Media, and the more we learned about you, we're like, oh my God, we're basically like kind of doing the same thing.
We're like, we need to call them.
What can we do? Because I love the fact that you guys, because we're like, okay, we need to control our own narratives. We have to be able to tell our own stories. People can't tell it for us. We know how to tell our stories better than anyone else. What came to the point where you guys were like, no, we got to do this.
I'm so sick of other people talking for us.
And we got to do it for ourselves. What made you guys decide, let's do this together? Was there a particular moment or situation?
There are like 3 questions in there.
Okay. First question. What made you want to create and come up with Nubia? Was there anything that was like, we're sick of this, we got to do this ourselves?
There was a point where I said, you know what, I'm sick of this. But honestly, that was just the beginning of it. I wanted to do a media and communications company when I was working at Fortune. That was because of the way event organizers, government offices, and all of that. I hated the way they treated journalists. You would go to cover a story and you're treated like trash. and they asked you to go and cover their story, but then you don't get your story, and then you have a deadline. It's just so many things. And so honestly, all I wanted to do was just to start a company that can organize press conferences and really treat journalists
with some respect
and give them the information they need. That was out of frustration. That was what made me really, we just need to do this. But then again, working as a journalist, you see a lot of people, you see a lot of news stories coming out about, being published about Ethiopia and then Africa as a whole. And I used to cover, so when I was working at Indonesian News Service, which is an Indian-based media, and then African News Agency based in South Africa, my responsibilities were to cover stories from Ethiopia and the region, but then, other African countries as well. And I got to see how these stories were being reported. And so my interest in organizing a really good press conference again, and then moved to, we need to start creating stories that represent us. And then, so just step by step, out of frustration, all these problems that we have noticed in these different spaces, we're like, at Nubia, we need to do that. And so when we started with Nubia, what we started with, because we had to make money, was literally with organizing press conferences. And so we started to,
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, because you have to.
We need to start organizing press conferences.
Honestly, I had this friend. He said, "Hadra, come on! Like, you're a journalist. You're good. You're amazing. You're good at what you do." And my thing is, like, I wake up in the morning and I come up with this brilliant idea. I just have this thing for coming up with things to do. And so it's like, you have a creative mind. You cannot be organizing press conferences. Come on, it's beneath you. And I'm like, I need the money. I need to pay taxes.
You gotta pay rent.
I gotta pay rent.
I got bills to pay.
I got bills. I got people to pay. And really, we started with that.
Yeah.
And then we both were working as fixers, as producers with different international media outlets. Then we started saving money. Then we bought our kit. And then we started saying, okay, so what do we do now? We started doing shit for free. Oops, I said shit. Is that okay? We started filming for free. We started doing stuff pro bono.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because we needed to learn on the job.
Yeah.
I don't want you to pay me, and then when I give you something, and then you'd be like, this is not what I wanted. We needed to build our profile. We needed to create our network, build our networks. And then when we got a job to do a corporate video, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it was a great work that we did.
But that's humbling because, yes, you guys are Emmy Award winners now. But for you to say, no, we started off doing all of this for free, at least at this point, I think we could all learn a thing or two. You don't always have to make money right away.
It's not an overnight process.
It's not.
You'll learn the hard way if you don't listen.
Yeah.
Okay?
But for me, what sort of like, okay, we need to start producing at least news material. But what drove me to that point for me is that we worked as a producers for multiple organizations before we started the Nubia company, and I've started noticing, I'm sure she did too, that the news comes to Ethiopia already done.
Yeah.
And then you just go to confirm what you already have.
Yes.
So, I mean, I get it. It's not like malicious because it's not technically malicious because you have limited resources. You have to plan, and then all the paperwork has to be done, and then you have to make sure your boss believes in what you're doing. You have to sell the story before you come to film it.
Right.
So I can give you an example. One time we went to Tigray area with one crew, and it was a radio crew, and they heard that there is this person that actually plants trees in the most deserted areas of Tigray, and they got the story from someone, and they wanted to hear what he has to say, but they completely got the story wrong, and they thought he was like an outlaw, like a government opposer, but he was working, like doing his own thing against the government's will.
Okay.
So they wanted to do that story, so we went there. Like completely, we don't know where the guy is, and we just went to Wikro, exactly, just to film the guy. And we met the guy, and he's so happy. He's been getting support from the government to do some
like,
whales. He was teaching the locals, and then the story completely fall apart.
Wow.
So what they were trying to do is trying to make the guy say that I was not accepted, but I get here all by myself, so that the story would work.
Wow.
And that was like my last straw. And they keep pushing the guy, like, yeah, but I want you to say, like, and then he got sick of it. Eventually, it was like, if I could do this on my own back in the days, I would have done it. What do you want from me? Poor guy has to say that eventually, and the whole they were like very angry that he didn't say it. And it was all gloomy, the whole car ride to Mekelle.
Wow.
So these trains, you see them like not to this scale, but you see them like the stories are done already, and you just come here to get the interviews or to get the final says.
To confirm what it is.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so it's like it's like working in circles, and you have to fight the journalists. And the sad thing is, people here do not understand what you do.
Yeah.
Just to fight that journalist not to make a mistake and do the wrong.
Right.
That's crazy in terms of journalism.
Yeah.
For anybody that's not in the profession, that
gender
might take
framing?
that lately, that's not cool.
Yeah, and also sometimes it has something to do with gender, for example, the story, and there are like, whether you like it or not, there are gender roles in Ethiopia, and then a producer would want a woman that is farming all day in the specific areas, like. No, bro, they do some other work. Like, find a woman, put her on a farm.
You have to
Tell her to get to it.
and then just
because stories are paid for, and news it doesn't pay that much. So these companies, it's not. I believe it's not malicious.
Yeah.
And you have to do what you have to do to survive. And we've seen many production crews that came here, and the story didn't work out completely, and they were crying. Oh my God, we're gonna lose our jobs.
Oh.
Yeah, because when you, let's say, when you pitch a story, and then that story has to be approved by different departments, then after it's approved, you get funding for that, or a budget assigned for the crew, for the gear, for everything, for your accommodation and flight and everything. So for a crew to come here to do a story that's already like it's in the story is already done during pre-production planning. So you come here, it's a completely different scenario. So usually some really good journalists that we worked with, what they do is before they get the stories approved, they ask us, so this is what we heard, this is what we want to do, and then we say, let's just give us a couple of days, let's research on that. And a lot of times we have managed to change their mind to tell the story differently than their already preconceived ideas and ways and all of that. And luckily we've managed to do that a few times, but then there are times when, because now we're sort of known for, nah, she's not going to do what we want to do. She has other ideas, or he doesn't want to do that. There are literally people who doesn't want to work with me because I argue with them. And I say, you know what, I live here. I have people in different parts of Africa who know about these. I have friends and journalists that I know of. I can connect you with them. Don't just go with these preconceived ideas to just do a story, spend thousands of dollars on this.
Exactly.
And so, but you see, once the story is out, the people here, they don't really see it that way. They don't see the fight, the struggle that we put ourselves through. They don't really see it, and then then we end up being the enemy.
The bad guys, right?
The bad guys, yeah. But I'm just, because we know what we do.
Or you could just make it yourself.
Yeah, just don't involve me.
And that's where
leave me out of it.
comes in.
Yeah.
That's where we say, do you know what?
Enough is enough. We're going to have to do this ourselves now.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, we just, when they say, we want to do this, we want a local producer, and then we ask them, do you want to do the story? Why don't we do it? Let's tell it. Let's tell the story. Because one of the things that we've learned is, even, let's say, while while filming Falling from the Sky, one of the things that we've noticed, when the plane crashed, there were international journalists from all over the world that came here to report on the incident. But only one Ethiopian journalist managed to capture one photograph, which is Mulugeta, and that was a picture of a woman splashing dirt on her face. And he took that picture because he understood what it meant for Ethiopians. That's how we mourn.
Yeah.
And, as an Ethiopian, you look at that and you feel her pain. But no one took that picture.
Yeah.
Everyone was there. US, Europe, I don't know, UK, the Arabs, everybody was there.
Yeah.
He was the only one who took that picture. That should tell you something. That's what it means to tell our own stories
100%.
from our own perspective. Because it creates connection with your local audience.
100%.
Give us a lot to think about. We have to reshoot some things. I'm kidding. Let's go for a track, and we'll be back. Hope you guys are tuned in and having a good one. If you are, you can hit us up. You can ask questions and stuff.
Sure.
You can hit us up on our Telegram. It's at Awaze Media, AwazeMedia. Shout outs to this person who has no name, who said, I'm so happy this week, you guys. I just started a new job at WFP. Congratulations! Yay! Very supportive people in the room. But let's go for a track.
Any songs you guys want to hear next?
Oh, you sure?
Yeah, not yet. It's gonna take a while to come up with a song that's appropriate for.
I'm thinking of rock. Should we keep going down that frame?
Why
I
not?
say fish.
He's like,
with
I
a
see
P.
fish.
Fish with the P?
PHISH.
ISH. What's the song?
Free.
Free. Oh.
That one I do know.
I don't know.
Like I said,
Like
I
fish?
live with people who listen to rock music.
Yeah.
And I get enough of that.
And I know the people she's talking about.
But yeah, I get too much rock and roll at home, so I was telling her earlier. She's like, PISH, fish.
No,
Yes.
PHISH.
PH. Gotcha. Sitting here like, am I spelling this right? Okay. Yes, we'll get to free. Fish. It's 11 minutes, or is this just like the concert?
Most rock songs are 11 minutes. They're as long as a Teddy Afro song, at least.
I think you got the live version or something.
Okay. All right. We'll play this, and then we'll be back after the musical break. Yeah. Don't go anywhere.
Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to your new family. It's the Awaze Show with your hosts Fire and TG every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
The best music, entertainment, spicy topics, and so much more.
Awaze, let's spice it up.
Welcome back, y'all, to the Oaze Show. It's not just me and TG. We have special guests in the building today. I hope you guys enjoyed the hour with us. It's literally gone by in 5 seconds?
You can't fit much conversation into an hour, if you've ever noticed, especially in a radio show. I don't know about elsewhere.
Yeah, no.
In here, time moves at a very different speed.
Yes.
It likes to hurry up, but we will be back for the second hour. Have no fear. We're gonna head off for the news, but we'll be back in the second half.
Yes, ma'am.
We still have to talk about. Well, for me personally, what I want to hear about is Pan-African journalism.
100%.
Because we need to learn before we attempt it.
Plus, we're stronger together.
Yeah, and you don't have a lot of role models, if that makes sense. Like we have nobody to look at and be like, I like how they did it. I want advice. I want to know more. I want to get more into this industry. But we really don't have a lot of people to talk to about the projects that we're pursuing. So it's really good to have you guys here.
It is.
Pleasure.
We take mentors wherever we come from. We're like,
100%.
teach.
Yes.
Sir.
We try to make them family too.
Yeah, but we also
I love that.
So we're gonna go hang out for like 30 minutes.
Probably act a fool. But we'll be back, guys. Don't go anywhere. Again, if you guys have any, questions, comments, musical requests, make sure to hit us up on our Telegram at Awaze Media, and make sure to follow us on all social media platforms at Awaze Media. So let's get to more music, and we'll see you guys in the second half.
Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to your new family. It's the Awaze Show with your hosts Fire and TG every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
The best music, entertainment, spicy topics, and so much more.
Awaze, let's spice it up.
Welcome back to the Awaze Show here on EBC 104.7. Y'all, how y'all doing?
Howdy.
Hello.
It's Friday. Yes.
Try it again?
Yes, you want to just
no.
She's like, I gave up.
Never again.
You're pretty good, though.
Yeah. So, I think I could do it better.
Hey.
She was like, I'm mad.
You guys, that's
talent,
King
girl.
Negusu. He did it. He did it.
I don't want
Hydra,
to
it's
torture
okay.
your audience.
Eventually.
You could have told them it was
I was bad at first. So I promise it gets better. But welcome back to the show. It's the second hour. In case you weren't tuned in during the first and you're just joining us, clearly you can hear two more people in the studio outside of me and Howie.
Yes.
But we do have Hadra and Nukusu in the studio. Mainly they're here because we're talking about 2020's Falling from the Sky.
Yes, award-winning, in case you lived under a rock.
Emmy Award winning.
Yes.
I always forget to say that, and I'm like, child,
Yeah,
that's,
me too.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta put that foot first.
And here.
It will be my middle name in in a little while. Hadra, Emmy Award, Ahmed. That'll probably be my name.
As it should. As it should. But yeah, so we're learning a whole bunch on and off air. Just absorbing information as we always do from all our guests, but especially today.
Yes.
Just some hard truths. Are you okay?
I am. Because these weren't things that were like, what? But it was also at the same time like, you know what?
Interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah, but we were so happy that you guys are here. This was long overdue.
100%.
I did want to ask, I'm always scared of the first one in Ethiopia to do this, or representing Ethiopia in this. It's pressure. There's pressure behind that. How does that feel?
You wanna go? Because you feel the pressure.
Okay, I don't want it to sound like a bragging, but I've been the first in many different things.
To do a lot of
do a lot of things, especially in media and production. So I have won the Gerald Loeb Award, which is an award that's given for distinguished journalists. I'm the first Ethiopian to win that. Rose d'Or Award, that's another European Union, the EU, the whole bloc, the EU award again for a documentary as part of the production team for a documentary that we did about the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, the first 360 documentary that we did. So that was also, I'm also the first Ethiopian. And also as a woman journalist, now there are a few foreign correspondents, but I was the first foreign correspondent. And so there are a few firsts that I have in my belt, but I never really sort of talked about or thought about doing that. So, but the Emmys,
Yeah,
it's
everybody
different.
knows who they are, so
And everybody knows. But at the same time, not a lot of people know, so it helps. which is great. But honestly, it really, in a way that how it helped us is just to be really careful when we're doing our job. Like, we need to really put more planning, think of what we do in a way that we have an audience now. If we say produced by Nubia, or if my name or Ngusu's name is included, it's it's like, oh, they're the ones who won the Emmy. Oh my God, is that what they did? I don't want them to like, wow, yes, of course. Yeah. That's a work of an Emmy Award winning producer or an Emmy Award winning director or photographer. You know, I mean, as a producer, yes, of course, you win so many things, but for a director or photographer to be the first Emmy winning, and as an Ethiopia in that aspect, and in all of that, I'm like, for him, I'm more happy for him than for me, because his journey is a whole lot of story.
Are you writing a book soon? Is that
No.
He's like, never.
I'm more of an average kind of person. I haven't been the first for anything. I'm the second person to win an Emmy too. She's the first. It wasn't me.
That's a relief.
Yeah. But I don't know. I took some turns in my life. A lot of turns. Right after college, I started working on fixing computers. Like a day job.
Got to make that money.
Got to make that money. And then started fixing machineries, big machineries. It was fun for quite a while. I guess I'm the first one to do
You
that.
can't just say, I was drinking water. I couldn't wait until I swallowed. It's like my water, because you can't just say I started fixing big machineries. Like, you know?
I've got it before. I mean,
no, like, I have to tell you this. No,
it's my story.
He's not going to tell it properly.
Fine, tell it.
No, the thing is, so there's this machine. It's called a CTP, which is a massive machine, like as big as this studio. And that machine is what all these big banners and backdrop banners, all of that, including newspapers and magazines, are printed with, that you print those from. Like, it's insane. It's very complicated. So he does the software and the hardware. And he would go inside the machine.
You kind of have to.
He would just sit inside.
I'm kind of small.
And he's like fixing a big machine. Or he's outside, standing up on the computer, rewriting the codes, updating softwares, and doing all of that.
Wow.
And he's the only one who can do that.
That's insane.
Yeah. And a few years ago, he was fixing all the machines in Ethiopia. He traveled to a lot of African countries to do the same. And he was really sick one day. He couldn't go fix the machine. Fortune, Capital, and Reporter newspapers were not out on the weekend.
Wow.
Because they were not printed.
That's not average, sir.
Wow.
And you know what?
Sorry.
You really don't
That's
play
not
it.
average.
Yeah?
It's so funny. We were like, it was Tamrat, we were talking.
Tamrat, the owner of Fortune.
Fortune. And then he was talking about this incident. I was like, oh, by the way, he's the one who fixed this machine. He's like, I didn't have my paper printed because of one child.
I was a child.
He's like, it's like, look, he didn't even have a beard or anything. He's like, because of one child, but this one young man, my paper did not come out. And see, I told you, he would not have told this story
you're
properly.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm glad you took
100%.
over.
Yeah. He's
So yeah, I still do that. Yesterday I just fixed a machine for Wallaga University in Nekant.
Where? Here in Edsa?
Wallaga University.
Okay,
I
you
was
went.
here,
Okay,
but
that's what I'm saying. You were here and you fixed.
Connect the machine in.
so the thing is, so that's also what he does. Like, he fixes the machine, like, from here to like a machine in Morocco, or like.
Hey, you want to come to Morocco with me?
I love how they're making plans on our radio.
What is this? And then he would fix like in Nagamt, like on online,
Interesting.
doing his thing. The thing.
So yeah, I still do that from time to time though.
Yeah.
That must have been quite a transition.
You would think so, but it wasn't.
Like, I slipped into this role very easily.
Yeah, I mean...
That's because he thinks it's science.
It is.
Math and engineering and all of that.
It is.
Making an image is actually science. And you
I
have
feel
to-
like you guys argue about this a lot.
We try not to talk about it. The peace in the office is what matters. Harmony is the key.
It's so funny.
Inner peace.
We had a panel discussion on the African Investigative Journalists Conference, and so someone like stood up and said, "Oh my God, you guys, you look like you have a harmony, like you have the click when you work
Cohesive.
together. You're cohesive. You understand each other. You look really amazing working together." We just looked at each other and so good. Like,
Yeah, we fight like
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah.
I'll tell you, because you told my story, I'm going to tell your story.
What did I do?
Because I'm mostly by the camera. She usually do the second camera and produce at the same time. So I have a nickname for her.
What's the nickname?
Yaron Mashat, her name is.
Your room mashat.
So it's like, you're on my shot.
Yeah.
You're on my
Every time I'm filming, she just walks by.
Just forgets
Just
you
walks by
exist.
the frame. And one time we were supposed to shoot this comedy show, and I was standing at what was it? Alan Zima, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was standing by the stairs, just waiting for the guy to show up. I have the perfect angle. He's gonna say hi to somebody, and he just 20 minutes later, the guy decided to show up. And I'm ready, I'm gonna take the shot, and Handra was like, hey!
And just went and hugged her.
Went inside the
didn't
frame.
even know this.
Just went inside the frame.
I didn't even know. I was like, what? It's like listening.
It's a double pain because, one, you lost the shot, and you kind of get over it, and then you go back to the studio, and then you try to edit it, and you see her smiling face just walking by your computer. And
Oh, you see this?
Handra.
Have you seen this? And you're like,
Every
I see
time.
it.
Every time.
Yeah.
But you guys make a
terrible.
great team, regardless. I think it helps fuel the creative flame.
I'm very
Yeah.
creative, and he's very
Technical.
and very sciencey. So one of the best thing I really love about working with him is, so we have like 2, 3 cameras, 4 cameras. We also do live streaming, live switching. So when you're doing all of that, multiple cameras in the room, the images need to be similar. So to get those images properly, we communicate in numbers. So this is my number, what's yours? So, and then that's my number. And then we use cinema cameras, which are manual. So you can just go and put the camera in front of you and just film. We can't do that. We use manual stuff. So manual focus and everything. And so those cinema lenses need to work with the camera body, the camera. So that is a whole lot of science and math on its own. So I remember one day it was writing numbers, this whole notebook. They were filled with numbers. I kid you not. He even put it on his social media. There were numbers. I was like, what are you doing? It's I'm calibrating the lens.
It has to be powerful. I
was like, what does that even mean? And then it's the cinema camera with the cinema lens, and it's oh yeah.
Sure, I get it. Yeah.
As you can see, I can't even explain it now.
You're supposed to calibrate your lens.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I love that. So I go I need that shot. So how do you think that's
Do your science voodoo.
So and then he goes okay, so that, and another thing, I really want your audience to also listen to this. This is one thing that we've learned. Few things that we learned. One, when you're starting a new company, when you want to do anything in any business, you need to know why you're doing it. For us, we knew what sort of materials we wanted to produce. That's why we selected and chose and bought the cameras that we bought. The same thing with the lenses. The same thing with our audio equipment. The same thing with how we built and the size of our studio. And everything that we have is tailored to what we do, because most of the things that we produced from the very beginning until now is for international market. So that advantage of targeting, setting our goals to the international market also helped us to have a quality material for the local market. But it doesn't matter who your audience is. What matters is what you want to do. And two, and this is his sort of like calculation. When you hear a lot of people saying you should buy this gear. No, like I saw it on YouTube. This is what's the best gear on the market. But you need to think in a way that the locations where those videos are shot and your Ethiopia or Africa locations. It's a very hot environment in Ethiopia. You can't film a documentary, a very long piece on black magic, for instance, because it gets really hot. You know, you have to stop, let it, let the internal workings of the camera adjust to the heat, and cool down, meditate. Like your camera needs to do all of that. But for us, we say no. What is the weather looks like? What kind of materials that we want to do?
Sometimes because we do long shots.
He said, tell her that experience, the 36 hours.
Yeah, we were filming 36 hours. No, was it 36?
Was it the time lapse of a mint? 40-something hours.
Of a what?
Of a
straight.
A mint plant growing.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So
we wanted to also see how, how long can we film?
Yeah.
So it took 36 hours plus. I really don't remember the footages. So the camera didn't stop. We're changing memory cards, and we were on DC at the same time.
Dang.
So
it's not even with a battery. Like the camera is plugged. The camera is plugged on the camera
and on a battery at the same time. So you can switch.
Yeah.
So it was beautiful though.
So you see, it depends. And two, lights. I know a lot of people who bought maybe you should talk about that because it's your area, like the electricity line and flickering and stuff.
Yeah, you have to choose your watt of light, and you have to know which light is good for you, and you have to know where you're planning to use that light, because some people buy this big 300 watt lights, and then they just put a battery on them and
you're sweating.
8 minutes later, they're just gone. The batteries.
Wow.
And you see that in big productions, by the way. And one of the things they mention when they do after, what do you call it? Behind the scenes thing. And we have there's no electricity, and our lights take this much batteries, and then we couldn't film.
Yeah.
So you have to consider that. So every time you buy any gear, first you're gonna have to ask yourself, what am I missing? What needs to be added to upgrade my production qualities? Or you have to think about it in two ways: upgrade your quality production, and then ease of doing things, like speed and quality, between the two. So you're gonna have to find that balance between cost and speed.
Yeah.
And then you make a choice. You ask everyone to tell you what they think of any gear. You ask everyone what they prefer to do. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have to make that decision on your own. Do not buy Canon 5D Mark IVs because everybody likes those cameras.
Canon listening to this, just
they don't care. They don't make 5Ds anymore. So that's very important things that people who wants to do production works
that people don't actually openly tell you. You kind of just stumble upon it and learn yourself. So for those who are actually tuning in,
if you're
word of caution,
in the production industry, the entertainment industry, if you have anything to do with cameras, lights, even if you're like a TikToker and you just started streaming or something, focus, learn. These things help.
They do.
Yeah, just know why you want to do what you want to do, and
know your audience, know your production type, and then you can do purchases. Because we get 3-4 phone calls every now and then, people telling us yeah, what's your camera, let's buy it.
Whatever you have,
whatever you have. Just send a picture.
I like your studio.
Sure you want to do that? Because
I want to build that.
we do manual focus. Are you sure you want that? No, it's fine, I got it. Just send a photo.
Oh, wow.
We're like,
This is...
Yeah, we want like the exact similar thing that you have. We come to the office? We want to see it.
it's a very Ethiopian
Come
thing.
anytime.
That's
Yeah,
extremely
they come. We
Ethiopian.
explain everything. They started and they closed down.
Yeah.
But it's a copycat kind of culture. we have
that's
here.
the culture.
but
we have.
but you know, you can't do that with production because the amount of money you put in these things is really a lot.
Yeah.
And things change.
And things change. Like you buy a
Upgrades.
camera, and you're not supposed to buy like a outdated camera on 2020 with a price that you can get a brand new camera with the latest technology. And you see people paying extra money to buy the old version. Like, why do you get it? He has it. It looks
Yeah.
nice with his collection. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's crazy.
This is too serious talk. Can we?
We ventured into a thing and we found it interesting, so we stayed. Before we do wrap it up, though, I do want to hear what's coming up next for Nubia, for you guys as individuals as well. What should we be keeping an eye on? And two, just more general advice on how we can create content that crosses Ethiopia's borders, because we are very much obsessed with ourselves. We love to talk about Ethiopia. Love it. We don't like it when other people see. We don't want to make the effort to show the world who we are, and then we get very offended when there's misconceptions.
Yeah.
So you can't have it both ways. Exactly. So what's coming up next for you guys? And how do we cross these boundaries? How do we relate more to everybody else in the world?
For example, if you ask me, originality is the key. But originality and actually serving your content is completely different things. You can keep the content original with everything Ethiopian, and then you change the delivery in the way people already understand or they can get familiar with. The best example I can think of is Fandika.
Yeah.
Fandika is original Ethiopian content. Everything they do is authentic Ethiopian stuff.
Very traditional.
Exactly. But the delivery suits the whole world. But the way they deliver, it doesn't mean they're selling out to the rest of the world or they're changing the culture. Once you get the attention of the world, then you can push your original stuff.
Yeah.
Because everything is online these days. It's both blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
One, you can get audience easily, but at the same time you can be sucked in the whole information flowing from all over the world. So your first job is to grab attention. Identify your specific audience group and then work towards that audience. If you go to Fandika, they are specific, even from foreign demographic, there is a specific audience group that is targeted. And through that specific audience group, then you can reach the rest of humanity. So the big issue we have here is we have original content, but we only express it in a way that Ethiopians can understand.
True.
And that is just holding us back. And you see most of Ethiopian content's not doing well overseas because we are very unique in our own way, and we cannot deliver that uniqueness through the current trends and just the way the world is built. So we need to bridge that gap and just grab every potential social media platform, any internet platform, and aim for the world as soon as possible. But it doesn't pay.
Not immediately, not at first.
Not
at
immediate,
least.
yeah.
You need to work at least 3, 4, 5 years to build a loyal audience.
Yeah.
But when you get there, there's no taking you back. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Backdrop.
As well as new projects that we can look forward to seeing from you guys.
That's your department. She's the producer. Produce, Aja.
Remember when I mentioned that I have ideas flowing in my head like every time?
All the time.
All the time, yeah. So we have a few projects coming up. One on 2 on entertainment, one on mental health, and then 2 documentaries. So we're hoping we'll be able to finish especially one of them. So if I could briefly tell you what it is about, we have started filming on the trauma experienced by the war, because of the war, but focusing on civilians.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead and Google. I'll give you time, like on Google, on YouTube. You can search even internationally to see how it's done. It's not, there's none.
Yeah.
So every PTSD case or trauma and everything that war impacts, is the focus is on the fighters, the focus is on the soldiers.
Yeah.
Yes, of course they go through that too, but also what about the civilians? No one really knows what happens. So hopefully if we're given, the permission and the space is open for us to go back, because we already done a 1-year filming, we already done part of that, but we want to go back there now and see how they're doing, because by the time we went there to film them, there was a movement with Ika Hospital and the Ethiopian government. They were working on actually providing the local community with advice and all of that. So I hope we'll hopefully be able to go back again and see how they're doing. So that's one of the documentaries that I'm really looking forward to, and I hope it will be great as well. But the rest are coming up on local TV and on YouTube. Check out Henok's Practice Room, which is great.
We hope to have you guys here on
We
the show
gotta have
again.
you back, because clearly it's not enough time in the world.
And there's too many things to talk about that we haven't covered.
Yeah.
If you guys are willing to come back, that is.
Yes, anytime. You guys are fun.
Yeah, you guys are fun too.
Man, I have so
happy to
much
hear
fun.
that.
It's gonna air.
Yeah, it's aired right now. Currently.
It's his
But
first time.
On that note, we will see you guys next week. Same time, same place.
Yes, ma'am.
Stay hydrated.
Make good decisions. Awaze out. Bye.
Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to your new family. It's the Owaze Show with your hosts Fire and TG every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
The best music, entertainment, spicy topics, and so much more.
Owaze, let's spice it up.